heard of the term conspiracy theory to describe topics not generally accepted by the public, but some deem as true. Conspiracy theories have a wide range of different topics. Some can relate to space, politics, medicine, or even monsters claimed to have been sighted in the wild. Some of these theories may seem impossible to believe, but they are seen as the truth by a small minority of people. We decided to try and debunk these theories and get input on some of the biggest claims made by conspiracy believers. Are these theories true? Let's find out. Do you believe that the moon landing was fake?
No. Yes, I do.
No.
No.
No, because they didn't have the technology back then to fake something like that.
No. It could be, it could be not.
Yeah, I guess. No, I don't.
No.
No.
No. I believe it is real.
Yes.
July 20th, 1969 was a historic day for the U.S. as it was the day Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong went to the moon and became the first people ever to walk on the moon. This was a major event in our space explorations. During this time, the U.S. entered a space race with Russia to see who could get a man on the moon first. A man named Bill Kaysing, who worked on this space program, said that the U.S. lacked the technology to go to the moon. Many people believe that it was filmed in a studio in order to win the space race. Some proof theorists have is that NASA destroyed the technology that they used in order to get to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology.
Another is that the American flag placed on the moon was waving, but there's no wind or air in outer space. Another one is the absence of stars in the moon landing pictures. Many stars should be shown if the picture really is taken on the moon. It was also said that NASA lost the footage of the original moon landing. In the data tapes that we do have, when the ship landed on the moon, there was no evidence of a crater being created upon landing. Scientists have previously said that if anything landed on the moon, it would create something similar to a crater or at least create dust. None of that was shown in the tapes. This makes people question the legitimacy of NASA. We decided to ask Mr. Jones, a science teacher, what he believes about this theory.
First of all, do you think the moon landing was fake?
It's not that I think the moon landing was not fake. It wasn't faked. It was impossible to have faked the moon landing. People say we didn't have the technology to go there. We actually didn't have the technology to fake it. They've actually interviewed a lot of people who are experts in lighting. They said the lighting and the shadows of every picture taken on the moon, all of their shadows are parallel, which can only be achieved if you have a very bright source very far away from you, such as the sun, 93 million miles away. All the shadows would not be diffused, they would all be parallel lines. So it's not so much that we couldn't go to the moon without technology, we couldn't fake the moon landing because we didn't have the technology.
Do you have an explanation for the proofs given by theorists like the waving American flag and the no stars in the night sky?
All right, for the waving American flag, people say, oh, it waves and it can't do that because there's no air on the moon. It was waving not because of the air on the moon, but because of inertia. When they were trying to put the flag into the ground, they were moving it and waving it around. As soon as they stop doing that, because of the law of inertia, it will continue moving until force acts on it to stop it. Well, there's not any air on the moon to stop it from waving around, so it continued waving and waving until eventually it stopped going, probably because of some slight friction. There was a little bit of atmosphere there, not enough to keep it waving, but enough to eventually slow it down. The taking pictures, or can't see the stars in the night sky. Well, that happens here on Earth. If you go out at night and try to take a picture of somebody with the sky behind them, you're not going to get any stars there either. Because these stars are so far away and the dots are so faint in the sky, you have to set your exposure on your camera to sit there for like 2 or 3 minutes to let all the light from those stars get to you. But if you do that, that allows too much light on the other subjects and they become whited out and you can't see them in the picture. So when you take a picture of any time in the night sky, you're not going to get stars in the sky unless you have it open for a long time to get it.
In your opinion, is the Earth flat?
Yes. No.
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 No, it is not flat.
No. Hey, those Karens who think the Earth's flat.
No? No, it's stupid.
No.
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 No, I believe the Earth is a spherical shape.
No.
If you believe the Earth is flat, you need to be shot.
theory has been around for a long time. This theory goes hand in hand with the Fox moon landing, as information given to us about both is from NASA. One reason as to why people believe the Earth is flat is because NASA has to Photoshop images together in order to get the entire Earth in one photo. A satellite has to orbit the Earth multiple times, and NASA edits the pictures together. Already, this makes people suspicious. Flat Earthers have come up with many theories of what shape the Earth is, if not round. Some believe it is a disk with Antarctica in the middle with the continents surrounding it. Others believe that Antarctica is the border of the Earth and acts as a wall to enclose all the continents in the center. A treaty was signed by major countries all over the world saying that people could not go into Antarctica.
So, the Antarctica Treaty was created. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means that smarty-pants scientists in lab coats can venture into the icy abyss for research purposes. The treaty also stated that no single nation could own Antarctica. It's divided up into partial ownership for these 7 countries.
Flat Earthers believe the government is trying to shield the borders of the Earth. To test this, we interviewed a Flat Earther believer and a Flat Earth non-believer to see both sides of the theory.
Why do you believe the Earth is flat? The Earth is flat for various reasons. I can start off with reasons like a train track. Trains, they go transcontinental. By design, it has to be flat. If it were curved in any way, the train would be too much for the train to bear. We can talk about the water. If you have a ball, like anybody can do this. If you have a ball, you can put water on it, it just falls right off. But if you have some flat surface, it pulls up.
What shape do you think the Earth actually is? Like a disc?
I don't believe it's like a disc, but it's flat.
Do you think NASA faked the photos?
NASA is fake. They're a bunch of uptight Ivy League nerds. They can suck.
Okay.
They're feeding the public fake news.
Do you believe in gravity?
It's fake as hell. The news spoon, you regular people, you guys are just believing.
As of now, 8% of the world believes that the Earth is flat. What do you think is the most substantial evidence you have to convince people that the Earth is flat?
Water. Water.
I mean, he's right.
Right. I mean, he's right.
Do you have a reason for why we can't go to Antarctica?
Because there is no law that says we can't go to Antarctica. They agreed they wouldn't colonize Antarctica. In fact, if you go there, it's illegal to take anything from Antarctica.
As of now, 8% of the world believes the Earth is flat. What do you think is the most substantial evidence you have to convince people that the Earth is not flat?
It's not like one piece of evidence. It's quite a bit that goes together. Cycles of day and night happen because the Earth is round. The sun shines on one side, is dark on the other. If it's a flat Earth, there's a whole other explanation that goes into that. They have no explanation for the seasons being different on the other parts. In fact, most flat earthers don't even believe in Australia down here. They think Australia is just made up and fake. They try to come up with these little explanations that work for one individual part, but that's not what science is. Science is using your observations and coming up with a simplified reason to explain everything. Just the Earth being round, you know all the answers to all those questions.
Do you think Bigfoot's real?
I mean, I guess it could be. Honestly, no. That's stupid too.
If we have enough proof, yes.
I don't believe so.
Sure. No, but I'd like to believe that he is.
No. I do not believe Bigfoot is real.
No. Bigfoot can totally be real. We just haven't caught it yet. Like, explain those Bigfoot steps. Because if we didn't make it, something's out there.
So me and my 3 buddies like to go camping, alright? We go camping in this big 200-acre piece of woods property. And in the middle of it is a hunting stand. And one night, we decided to go looking for coyotes. So we play animal distress calls for a few hours, and one of my buddies leaves. Me and my other buddy are sitting in the hunting stand when all of a sudden we hear something moving around camp. So there was no alarm at this point until we heard large branches breaking, and then we knew whatever it was not small. So then at this point we kind of freak out. Everything goes quiet. And we're cooling down at this point. But then across the field we hear this horrendous scream. It was something scary. Yeah, like that. Ah! So me and Tucker scream like that, also out of fear. And then we call into camp and get someone to come out to come get us. And when, you know, we're walking back away from camp, my buddy turns his light around and he sees something. And I ask him, I'm like, what do you see? And he turns around and he looks at me and he goes, nothing. I'll tell you when we get back to camp. So, you know, not to spook us. And when we get back to camp, he told us that he saw something peering at us from behind a tree, which is kind of spooky. But the reason we think this was Bigfoot is because I don't know, small animals are really loud in the woods because they know they can skitter up a tree. Big animals are really quiet, and it was pretty quiet for the most part until it started breaking large-sized branches, and then there was the scream. And me and my friends are outdoorsy people. I mean, we've never been spooked like that, but I don't know, nothing's ever had me that scared before.
Do you believe Bigfoot is real?
Hell no.
So Haley and I are at the lake, and I was just wondering, do you think that the Loch Ness Monster is real?
No, I haven't really had an experience with it, but you know, if I saw it, maybe I'd believe it.